Hello and welcome back to what I hope is going to be the Join Dota League Season number 3. As we are going to pause the game, waiting for one of the players, so hopefully he gets into here without any further issues. But that said, this is going to be Game 2 of our Best of 2 series between Invasion and Immunity. Wait. I think I'm right. Oh my goodness, it's early. Yeah, there we go. I'm not completely crazy. There we go. So we are going to wait for HeflaTV to get back into the game. But as for your caster, I'm Grandis V. I won't be alone for the next series, which is going to be Myth Trust versus Invasion. I'll be joined by Mike Loris for that one. But then again, for this one, I am going to be solo. Currently, he's overcasting at HeflaTV too, so no big surprises there. But either way, HeflaTV is going to get into this game, and we can go into the draft. Come on. Let's unpause the game and let's get into it without any further ado. As far as Game 1 is concerned, I think there's kind of two big reasons why Immunity lost. The first being that Invoker, man. The Invasion Invoker was just so huge. There was nothing that they did to stop him. At one point he was like 7-0-2, even more than that before he died. He had the Midas running, he got First Blood, he got Towers. There was nothing to really stop him. At the end, he was right-clicking like a truck, and they couldn't do anything about it. It was very impressive performance, as well as the Sunstrike's landing. Like, there was very little wrong that the Invoker did. He got caught out a couple of times, but then again, it was only a couple. The other thing going wrong for Immunity is that they had a Pugna push strat that didn't push. And when you have a Pugna strat that's not going to be pushing, it's not going to look good. They were holding out to about 30 minutes, but holding out at 30 minutes is not what you want to do when you commit to a Pugna pick. As far as this game is concerned, we are going to see some different bans coming out from both teams. Faceless Void Venomancer banned out by Immunity, and Lycanthrope Brewmaster taken out by Invasion. This is going to leave the Death Prophet in the pool for Invasion to snag up, and they'll be very happy with that starting hero. Despite not having the Faceless Void, or maybe some other heroes that they want to combo with it, Venomancer or what have you. They might not get their hands on the Shadow Shaman, but enough of that. It's still going to be a really solid hero. Even if the other four heroes aren't committing fully to the push, it doesn't matter. As Death Prophet, once she gets her level 11, it's still going to mow down towers, whether or not you have other heroes to do it with her. Immunity Dota started with a Doom and Tinker, and this is quite possibly the two most annoying heroes that you can ever see in a pub. Doom and Tinker are incredibly annoying. Doom, if you can catch it, the Death Prophet before Exorcism is wonderful. The Tinker dropping March of Machines is just going to be a nuisance. But Invasion, with the Batrider, they already have a pretty good tool to catch out this Tinker. In fact, probably the best. Batrider, Clock, and Storm Spirit are the three that come to mind when I think about heroes that can pick off a Tinker globally around the map very effectively. All three of them have ways to get vision inside the trees where Tinker is blinking, and all three of them have really great ways to initiate. Blink Lasso, Hookshot, as well as Bolt Lightning. Invasion, I don't think they'll be picking up any more to go along with this Batrider as far as that initiation is concerned, but it should be enough. Both teams get a pretty solid starting, but Immunity, their first two picks are incredibly greedy. The Doom, despite being able to get something out of pretty much any laning stage, no matter how bad it is with Devour, he doesn't offer much in those early skirmishes. Maybe a War Stomp, but even then, it's mostly used as follow-up, and his other stats, they're just so abysmal. Tinker also doesn't really get online until he gets 3 items up: Boots of Travel, Soaring, and Blink Dagger, and you're probably not going to see those on Tinker on a good game until about 15 minutes in, and on a bad one up until 20, and even more. So yeah, Immunity, they're kind of going to try to weather the storm, if you will. Invasion, the supports that they're banning out would have been wonderful for them in order to do so. Pretty good space-making supports in the Scarlet Mage, as well as the Earthshaker. And the Shadow Shaman already banned. With 4 cores picked up by both teams, the supports are going to be the ones focused as far as the hate is concerned. Invasion Esports,
reserve time.
There's still plenty of heroes that they could combo with this Death Prophet to push, and if they really want to go all in, I actually wouldn't be opposed to them picking up a Pugna as well as their 3rd core, and then just supports that can make things happen in the early game, and then just mow down towers. The timing that they'd have to wait for is 9 minutes in, but that's not a big surprise. But what is the Spectre ban coming out from Immunity. That's actually very peculiar. Spectre would have been nice against the Tinker as well, but then again, Spectre, I think that would be a tad greedy coming out from Invasion. The laning phase, they might have been able to get away with it. That's very peculiar. I would have loved to see a Spectre this game, but then again, we're not, because Immunity are going to ban it out. Okay, immunity. We're probably going to see another support, but their last core, I think it just kind of has to be something that's going to make the space. I'm hoping for a Tidehunter. That's a little greedy as well, but pretty much any offlaner they're going to get is going to want their Blink Dagger. They might consider something along the lines of a Centaur, that could be pretty solid for them as well. Or it could be just the offlane Dooms. Sorry about that. Oh, just a little gunk in my throat. And also being tired does not help in the slightest. But glad you could stick around with me for some Southeast Asian Dota as we're waiting for Immunity to pick up their next hero. This is kind of the pick that sets the tone for the rest of the draft, as the first two heroes could go in a variety of directions. Not as much for Doom and Tinker, but Disruptor, it's not going to change anything. Probably one of the most well-rounded supports still left in the pool. Dazzle, as well as Disruptor, you have the Wraith King as well. Witch Doctor would have all been pretty good. Invasion, they're going to pick themselves up a Mirana. Right now, they don't have any setup for it, but if they get their hands onto a Shadow Demon, this could be a pretty potent pick. You usually want to pick those two up together, and it definitely would work out. Immunity might even consider picking up the Shadow Demon for themselves, despite not setting up for anything huge. It'll delay so that Tinker can TP in, as well as being good defensively up against the Batrider. If they really want to put the hate to the Batrider, Vengeful Spirit would also be a really solid support. Pretty easy access to Roshan Pit, despite not having the best Roshan heroes, but they're going to go for an Enigma. Immunity Dota, this is so greedy. I think Evasion, it's a no-brainer here. Just pick up the Shadow Demon and start roaming, kill stuff, and there's nothing they're gonna do. And there you go, Shadow Demon the pick for Invasion Esports. They hesitate a little bit, but not long at all. It's pretty much what they wanted. This Tinker, Doom, Disruptor, Enigma, none of them are going to be safe around the map. Disruptor, although he's kind of nice in the lane, he doesn't kill anything on his own and offers very little
10 seconds to go.
in the defensive capabilities. Kinetic Field can be nice in theory, but it's fairly unreliable, and if you get arrowed, there's very little the Disruptor can do to save you. Dazzle, the last band coming out from Immunity, a very peculiar one, actually. I wouldn't have been opposed to it. Invasion, it would have made their tri-lane incredibly potent. With Shadow Team Disruption into Heal Bomb Arrow, that almost just 100 to zeros heroes at the early portions of the game. Ember Spirit, the last band from Invasion. Wouldn't have liked that, but Immunity, pick up a Silencer. Huh. If the silence is on point, you can stop the Batrider initiation, but that's about all that they're disjointing. This global silence is almost exclusively for the Bat. Might be useful at stopping a Mirana, leaping away, or a Shadow Demon Disruption, or what have you, but this is not where I thought Immunity would go with this last pick. I don't like their draft very much at all. I think Invasion, they could just go hyper-aggressive, pick something up like a Leshrac, or even a Lina, and just mess stuff up. You can roam around and get kills very effectively. If Immunity Dota are able to stem the bleeding and stop things from really going all the way down the toilet there, they're going to be pretty good come about 35 minutes in, once the Doom, Tinker, as well as Silencer have some good farm, as well as the Enigma being a really potent threat. They might come online a little bit earlier than that, but before that 35-minute mark, I think Invasion are going to pretty much be the kings of the court and the ones that are calling all of the shots. This last pick for Invasion could also be a Morphling. I wouldn't be opposed to that as well. It would give them a little bit more late game oomph to counteract what Immunity Dota are bringing to the table. They'd be able to burst down people incredibly fast with the Batrider Lasso into just shotgun them down. And if the Tinker buys himself an Ethereal Blade, it's all the worse for him, because you'll be amplifying everything the Morphlings bring to the table. If he does go for that more magic bursty build, Invasion, either way, I don't think they can really go wrong. I would love to see a Morphling or a Shrek. I think those are the picks that I want to see. Both do completely different things. They're not in the same boat at all. But yeah, I really think that Invasion could completely take over the game with something like Leshrac. So yeah, Immunity, their individual play needs to be spot on, because if it's not, they're going to be in such a pickle. Gyrocopter, the last pick for Invasion, it's okay. It's kind of a middle ground between the Leshrac and the Morphling kind of mindset. It's going to offer them a whole heck of a lot of magical burst damage. Disruption into Arrow with Rocket Barrage, that's a dead hero. 9 times out of 10. You're not going to survive that. That's about it. The Gyrocopter is going to transition well in the early game, and then late you always have the threat of your Rapier on the Gyrocopter and things like that. A 6-slotted Gyro is something to be feared, and Immunity Dota, the Doom is going to be very useful up against the Gyro, but is it going to be enough? I really dislike having a Gyrocopter on the field when you have a Doom to deal with, and Invasion in the late game scenario are going to need to get somebody else doomed. Even if it's at the cost of your Batrider, it's going to be worth it, because Flat Cannon is going to be stopped by Doom, and a Doom Gyrocopter does nothing in the team fights. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. I was kind of hoping for just a super aggressive pick, but let's see how they're going to play this. As far as the heroes and who is going to be playing them on the Radiant side, we do have Invasion, with OK playing on the Shadow Demon. Our other support is going to be ADTR on the Mirana. They're going to be supporting FZFC on the Gyrocopter with Ghost, handling the Batrider, and last but not least, Death Prophet handled by Keswick Imba. On the Dire side, we are going to have Immunity, fighting for a 1-1 here in this best of 2 with Risk. On the Disruptor, the other support is going to be Enigma, handled by Shutan, and on the mid Tinker, we are going to have Chains towards the safe lane Silencer, going to be handled by jDL3, and the offlane hero is going to be Doomed, played by Cynical. We are going to start things off with a little bit of a pause, which is unfortunate, but it'll give me time to check out how things are going on in the chat, if anything is happening at all. So thanks for tuning in to the Dota or Join Dota League season number 3 here on HeflaTV 1. And well, the pause is going to end as soon as I say that. So wonderful timing, and into the game we are going to go. Yeah, the early roam potential is almost exclusively in the hands of Invasion. Okay, as well as ADTR. If they set up these Mirana arrows, it's going to be wonderful for them. The Mirana we saw last game coming out from Immunity did nothing. It's partially the Mirana's fault. Some of those arrows were just not on point, but then again, their setup for the Mirana arrows were very limited, and they needed some way to ensure that they'll hit. And that way that Invasion have is the Shadow Demon Disruption, which is almost guaranteed that you're going to land an arrow on something. Pretty much the only way that you can stop it is by body blocking it with either a hero or, hopefully for Immunity, an Eidolon from the Enigma would be their best way to stop things. Mirana as well as Gyrocopter currently sitting mid. They're going to go aggressive, it seems, but they'll start things off with potentially looking for first blood on the mid lane. Things are not going to be spotted out by this ward as they look for an arrow. The Mirana is going to show herself, but the arrow lands on the Risk. Risk caught in a bit of a pickle here. They do have the disruption to delay things, and they might just get themselves a first blood. With that 5-second arrow, he's not going anywhere. He's caught between too many heroes, and that's a perfect Warcraft 3 surround. First blood picked up by ADTR in the Shadow Demon Disruptor. Or Shadow Demon Mirana, excuse me. With the Disruptor and Shadow Demon in the same game, it's always a bit of a pickle. But there you go. They're off to a wonderful start. And that was executed perfectly. You couldn't have asked for more. 5-second arrow onto a Disruptor. Usually, if you don't have the follow-up for that, it's a very hard kill. But he sat there for 5 seconds, and the Disruption came out at the perfect time from the Shadow Demon, and then they blocked him in. There was nowhere for him to go. The Mirana is going to eat a curse from Leaf, or I have no idea how to say his name. Sorry. The Silencer, but she still has enough mana for an arrow, and that's all that ADTR needs. And she has Clarity on top of that. This Silencer is going to get nothing, and they're just going to straight up dodge. Probably send the Doom to the jungle or something along those lines, and try to get as much farm up against the Batrider as possible. But that said, ADTR and OK are going to be A-OK with this. They can just roam around, and now they're going to make the Enigma's life terrible. As if they snag a couple of his Eidolons, or even worse, get a kill onto Intel, or Shaitan, excuse me. It'll be in a terrible situation as the last hit on the big creep. It's going to be picked up by the Enigma, fortunately for Immunity, but it's still a lot of experience given away to these two supports. The Enigma, he does have his level 2, which is all fine and good, but when your jungle is invaded by 2 supports at this point in the game, Enigma's life just got a whole heck of a lot harder. It's okay, as well as ADTR. They're the story of this game. They're going to try for Chains. They're looking for the Disruption. Not going to find it. Even the Boots first and Shadow Demon is not going to be enough, as Chains has his pair as well. Chains has opted to not go for the bottle. I like this choice coming out from Chains, although it's going to stop his laning presence quite a bit. And we're already seeing that 1-0 compared to 9-9, 10-9 now in Kasukimba. This Tinker is getting mauled. There's not a better way to put it. He's just forced to play so defensively. The threat of OK as well as ADTR is enough to keep them at arm's length. And now, Enigma, he's going to try for a little bit more defensive jungling, but now an Illusion Rune picked up by the Shadow Demon. This early game, it's kind of what I feared for Immunity. They're just going to get mowed over. Like, there's nothing that they can actually do. They're getting very little off of this map. If you look at their farmers, 7-1 on the Enigma is the highest CS that they have. 6-3 on the Silencer just isn't going to cut it. They are going to spot eyes on the Doom, and, well, Ghost, he's going to steal these creeps, and that's a lot wasted by the Doom. If he had more sticky napalm stacks onto him, he might have died there, but it's going to be fine. The Batrider, although not farming incredibly well, is still getting enough to get a blink dagger to decent timing. His stacks are not coming out for himself on any of the camps, but eventually they will, and then Ghost is going to be happy. Enigma finds himself a soul ring. His farm isn't shut down as bad as it could have been, but they're having a gyrocopter absolutely free farm. I don't think this is a Midas game, as most aren't, but then again, it wouldn't be awful. It's okay, he's going to be harassed down very low by a couple of these little eyeball Eidolons. They're also going to plink away at the Mirana. Mirana doesn't get the last hit before they flop on the ground. But yeah, right now it's fairly passive. I'd like to see the Mirana and Shadow Demon maybe go bottom and help this Batrider out a bit. But right now they're doing everything that they can, and now they're going to take a tier 1 tower on top of it. Slowly but surely, it's a 1v0 lane. There's nothing they can do. They'll send Intel, or Shatan, excuse me, my goodness. His tag is just messing me up. Well, yeah. Immunity, they're getting away with a little bit more than I thought they would, as now the Doom is in the aggressive jungle. He's not farming incredibly fast, but this is enough to catch the Doom up, so to say. Invasion are still looking for a very scary mid-game, as this Death Prophet, having the time of her life in mid, is going to stop having the time of her life. As now the marches are coming out from Chains, it's going to be annoying, and now Chains is working with a little bit of a stack here, so that's going to stack for him, as the Enigma is going to drop up and top. Oh, just such a fast kill. That was disruption into arrow with the rocket barrage going off. FCFC, I think he's the one to get that last hit. No, it's Shadow Demon that snags the gold, but still, it's just so scary. Like, how do you deal with that? You really can't. The Enigma just caught out in a very awkward situation, and so is Cynical, as he's at very low HP at the enemy side of the map. Tier 1 tower is going to fall in the favor of Invasion. This early game is almost as good as you can ask. Chains is doing a little bit of damage control. He has a stack going on his Ancients, and he's at 10 and 10 as the Disruptor dies and the Batrider dies and everything's dying, and I'm not seeing it, as they find themselves a kill on the Bat, but he takes the Disruptor with him. That's pretty favorable for Invasion. I don't know, it's not great. At least the Batrider got something out of that, I should say. And now the towers are going to take a little bit of a trade, but it's not enough. They're not going to be able to get this tier 1 with only level 2 Eidolons from the Enigma. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Wow, I've caught less kills than I've actually missed. His ADCR finds himself a salve on the courier, and now looking potentially for an arrow onto Chains. It's time to stop having OK as well as ADCR sit up top. The gyrocopter can be left more or less alone. Maybe leave the Disruptor there, or Shadow Demon. But yeah, Chains now with the Mirana missing off of top. It's scary time again. He's going to be playing very defensively on the right side of his map, and this is exactly what he has to do. Radiant is going to defend their structures, mostly just to the damage down the bottom, with the Batrider back here to drop a Firefly onto the ground. It's not going to be anything that they can't deal with. Usually I don't like doing this so early on into the game, but if we take a look at the net worth, it's mostly in the favor of Invasion. Even the Batrider looking pretty solid. Yep, Tinker does have his Soul Ring, no bottle just yet. I'd like to see somebody else pick it up for him, maybe. I don't know, just put all of your eggs in the Tinker basket. But more than likely, he's going to be buying his own. His boots driver are going to be so delayed. Disruption attempt in mid is not going to happen from OK, as Tinker was fast enough to go down towards the south. And now solving up, he's going to be fine to sit around in lane, but a Tinker that's just fine isn't just fine. He needs more. Almost a 2... Oh, again... Batrider gets himself a kill onto the Enigma, now getting chased down by the Doom. Under his tower, though, he's going to be safe, and... Oh, will he? He might take down to that. No, he has the sticky napalm still. Enough mana to do that, and that's going to completely debuff that off. My goodness, this Batrider is finding himself solo kills where I didn't think he would. TP towards mid. The fight is going to break out there as they get the kill on the Tinker after a Shadow Demon disruption into the Cryptstorm and Arrow. It was a fairly easy setup, and the TP does come through from... excuse me, Risk, and Shatan has also roamed in here, but it's just nothing that Immunity can do at this point in the game. It's just turtle for as much as you're worth and try to keep this game going late. But a Silencer core is not going to be able to compete very effectively up against a Gyrocopter. They need to blink on this Doom so that FCFC gets doomed every single fight, and even if he does, you're still going to have to deal with the Death Prophet, and until 40 minutes in, the Death Prophet isn't going to be... or is going to be one of the scariest heroes in the game. Yeah, they're already completely bottled up as the Batrider gets another kill. Okay, I'm casting on tilt. I am so sorry about this. I just need to follow the Shadow Demon in the Mirana now. That's where all of the kills should be isolated as, oh my goodness, they miss a solo kill. The Keswick Imba finds himself on the Tinker. He didn't even have a rumor or anything. The Tinker just dies straight up to the Death Prophet. It's nothing crazy. Now the tier 1 tower den and bottom is going to fall as well. Yeah, flame me all you want in the chat. This is actually terrible. I have no idea where to watch because Invasion, they're just finding all of the kills everywhere. The solo heroes that I wouldn't expect to get kills are getting kills. The Shadow Demon and Mirana aren't even involved in everything. Now Firefly from Batrider catches eyes on the Tinker's stack, and, well, with the early Morbid Mask and Gyrocopter, they might be able to find this. They get a lasso on to change chains. Arrow's not going to land onto him, and he might survive because of it, but the arrow is going to land and die with the leaf as they do get the kill on the Shadow Demon because of the March and the Machines. Well, that went a lot better than I thought it would, but now Die Belief, he's burning the fire and the flames, but then again, so is Ghost, going to need himself a last word. No range on the Glimpse, it's not going to come from Risk, and that is going to be all she wrote. Yeah, that's unfortunate that they didn't get the arrow onto the Tinker. This is a little bit of hope here for immunity, but still, it's not enough. Death Prophet gets herself a tier 1 tower in mid, with maxed out Witchcraft as well as level 1 Exorcism. That's all that she needed, and now she's going to have a completed Yules at less than 9 minutes, and this is scary amounts of farm. Keswick Imba can get level 11 and then just pop Exorcism, jump into the middle of the fight, Yules herself up, and there's nothing that they can do about it, short of a Doom from Cynical. And Doom isn't even up yet. He's level 5. Yeah, it's just not looking good.
Radiant's top tower's taking a hit.
Shadow Demon and Mirana, luckily enough for immunity, are not on the enemy side of the map, but they're roaming towards there, and if they land an arrow, it's more or less just a completely dead hero. These two heroes, they've been involved in 4 kills alone. Despite not being as active as I thought they would in the early game, it's enough. They didn't really need to do more. The landing stage for immunity was too greedy, and they're getting punished very heavily for it. The Gyrocopter is left pretty much solo down in bottom, but they shouldn't be able to get this killed. The best thing that they can hope for is just the turtling coming out from chains, which is what they're doing. Soul Ring on the Tinker is going to farm up his ancient stack, but that's not going to kill it all the way. I think the Gyrocopter, if he has a Shadow Demon Mirana there, they could actually just nick this complete stack from the Tinker. He's going to Soul Ring up, but he doesn't have enough mana for the stack, and now that they spot out this one, I think that they can just steal it. Yeah, get the Gyrocopter over there. Get that stack. I want to see them do that, because if they kill that stack, Tinker's potential is going to be just completely damned. That's 4 large creeps, at least 800 gold, or thereabouts for the Gyrocopter that he could drop with just 1 flat cannon barrage. The Tinker's going to drop another March. This isn't going to kill it either. He needs a couple more. He's going to be able to get it because they didn't pop on the opportunity, but it's still arrow attempt, not going to land. But yeah, now the big creeps, they're going to steal at least 1, which is a little bit of damage, but now, okay, caught in a very awkward situation, gets Malphus up, now the Global Silence spent, they're going to Black Hole onto 2, ADTR, as well as the Shadow Demon, bit off more than they could choose. I believe gets himself a double kill. All down going, looking for the deny, it's not going to happen, as Gyrocopter gets last hit on the tower, so it's still not the end of the world for, Invasion, but it's still a win nonetheless. Giving up that tier 1 tower is completely fine. As long as they can secure this Tinker some farm, he desperately needs it. Now has his Blink Dagger, or not Blink Dagger, but his Boots of Travel at a pretty decent time for how this early game was going for him. Mostly due to the fact that he didn't go for Bottle first, but it's still enough to keep him alive. Now, Risk is going to steal his Black Dragon, and Cynical gets the last hit onto it. From the Tinker, but it's enough. Boots of Travel now on the Tinker, immunity. They're going to start getting over the hump. Is it going to be enough, however? The Death Prophet is at a scary level of farm, and now with level 11 Exorcism, she might just be able to take the tier 2 tower more or less solo. She's not going to pop it yet, and she'll probably draw back the enemy before she's able to take that tower, all said and done. So she won't go for it. It's in mid. We're looking for the Blink Dagger initiation from the Batrider. It doesn't even need the completed or they're not able to burst it down in the completed lasso, but it's enough with the arrow follow-up. They'll find themselves the kill on the silencer, and it's just so scary for them. Chains is doing his best to turtle it out, and if there's a Tinker or a hero that can do it, it is the Tinker. But now, up top, they're looking for a Doom onto the Death Prophet, but she's just going to Yule Scepter up the Doom, and now with the Exorcism going, they're going to find themselves a kill on the Cynical. He doesn't even get the Doom off, not enough mana, and that's going to be a free tower and killing spree for Keswick Imba, and another 2,700 gold on top. This Death Prophet performance is looking dangerously close to the Invoker of last game, where it just had everything in the world, and with Exorcism still going, we'll put some damage on this tier 3. They're not going to be able to commit fully, but you might as well. That's just, about 300 damage that's free from just the remainders of Exorcism. This map is falling out from the feet of immunity. The Gyrocopter, he's also getting to pretty solid amounts of farm. It's not the scariest farm I've ever seen. Hastings picked up by the Enigma. You won't be able to do anything with that. But yeah, Gyrocopter getting very close to his BKB. Only about 1,600 gold, a little bit more than that till he has it completed. And it's scary. It really is. We have a pause coming out here. This will give me a little bit of time to check out the chat, which I already did as soon as it was paused. But into the game we go. It's just so scary. Yeah, it's so scary. Like, there's just nothing that you can do about this right now. For the next 20 minutes or so, it's going to be Invasion. They're kings of the court. The Tinker, as nice as it is to have his Boots of Travel here at this timing, it's a solid timing for Boots of Travel with Soul Ring at about 10 or 11 minutes in is where you had it. That's where you want to have your Boots of Travel Soul Ring in bottle. You'll have the Boots of Travel Soul Ring in bottle at about 12.5, but it's still serviceable. The problem is he needs more. He needs a Dagon and Blink on top of this very soon. He's just not going to find it as they pull back all the poor Enigma into the Rocket Barrage. Boom! Not even going to need the second rocket fall. And Enigma caught with his pants down there. There's just nothing he can do. Batrider pulls him back in. The initiations from this Batrider are just too scary. Invasion have plenty of ways to start fights, whereas Immunity have none. They're completely reactionary, and honestly, I don't think this Silencer can do it. He needs to have the best reflexes ever in order to actually have a fighting chance at stopping these Blink Dagger initiations from the Batrider. And it's not even gonna happen. He has to, like, expect it before it happens, and to do that they need to have vision, and they don't. They have 2 wards over by the river, but what's that gonna help you with? It's really not. Like, you'll be able to see the runes, which is all fine and dandy. It's not enough. They're going to lose their top one soon, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to leave their base enough. They're currently forced to group up as a 4-man unit already. The Tinker, the only one that's not there, and only because he can Boots of Travel rearm and get back into the fight. But Tinker, look at where he's Boots of Traveling into. He can't even go straight to his tier 2 for fear of a Batrider initiation. Batrider, Blink Dagger, or rather, Lasso still on cooldown for 20 seconds, but it's just turtle time for immunity, and that's why this Doom goes for the next item, Hand of Midas for Cynical. This Hand of Midas, although it's not going to do anything for his team, and possibly a Blink Dagger would have been more useful for him, it's not enough. He needs more, and that's what this Midas is going to do for him, if they're able to keep this out for long enough. Blink Dagger initiation for the Batrider, but there's the Global Silence. He's not able to find the Lasso. Now gets zoomed up. The Black Hole going to be onto FCFC as well as Ketsugemba. Do they have the damage to drop them down? With the Static Storm on top of it, they're doing a decent amount. The Gyrocopter is still surviving. Now the call down comes through. Ketsugemba in the middle of the fight with the Exorcism running. He's doing a lot of damage, but they're not able to clean up any of these kills. Ketsugemba running through the March of Machines, taking a lot of damage, but not as much as that Disruptor is going to take from the last Crypt Storm. He's bottling up, but still has Exorcism. He's going to eat a last word, and now the Malefice. He's going to Scepter him up in the air, and, well, they need to run away from these ghosts. He's still going to lose his life here as the Flame Break comes through. It's not going to be enough to save him. The rockets from the Tinker were a little too late. Possibly a little too ballsy coming out from Invasion, but it's still fine for them. It's not the end of the world by any means. Cynical eats, I think that was the Demonic Purge damage, but he'll be able to walk back to base and swagger back in to pick himself up a Bracer. He's just trying to tank up as much as possible. This Death Prophet, despite dying, almost has a completed Bloodstone as well as Yule Scepter at 15 minutes in. It's not great. We're going to have the BKB completed by the Gyrocopter in just a couple hundred gold, about 600 or so. And once he has that finished, Gyrocopter is going to be immortal. They have a Black Hole, and if they catch him out with the Doom beforehand, it'll be fine for them, but then again, the Gyrocopter is still going to be sitting in the middle of the fights and doesn't really have to fear death, as the physical damage coming up from immunity is almost non-existent. Silencer relies almost entirely on his Glaze of Wisdom to do his damage. As we watch ADTR try to get focused down. He turns for an arrow, he's going to throw that out, doesn't land, but he'll be fine. We'll be forced to walk back to base. He's probably going to wait for another arrow. No, just going to TP back to bases. We do have the Batrider. It's going to bop by an Eidolon, and, well, then be forced back. Oh my goodness, that was probably incredibly loud by on stream. Sorry about that. Ooh. Yep. The snowball coming out from Invasion is slowed down a little bit, and, well, you can see that in the graphs. It's pretty much respective of the last couple minutes of the game. It's still a 10,000 gold lead for them in the net worth. And if you look at the XP, 5,000 in the experience. It's not unsurmountable, but it's still a hard game. We are going to have a double damage stream bottled up by the Death Prophet and the Gyrocopter completing up his BKB, and I think these tier 2 towers in mid and bottom are not long for this world. And once they take those, usually you'll say that the team on the Dire side is going to have the better advantage inside the Roshan pit, but this just isn't the case. Batrider, one of the best heroes around the Roche pit, getting vision with the flame, with the Firefly, and then just being able to initiate very easily. And also with the Gyrocopter cooldown, TP going to be cancelled by the Tinker. That's it. I think they're just going to give this one up. They don't have anything to really combat this. And Mirana looking for a pot shot arrow. If she catches out Risk is going to die. She throws it the wrong way. Or right way, I suppose. I don't know. Looking for the scout, they're not going to find it. But they get the tier 2 tower nonetheless. Now the BKB on the Batrider, or BKB on the Gyrocopter, Force Staff on the Batrider. They're going to just run into the Roshan, but with Medallion level 2 Exorcism, Roshan is not long for this world. Batrider are going to puppy dog this pit and keep it safe. Immunity, if they know what's happening, it doesn't matter because it's going to die before they can do anything about it. Black hole in the pit is wonderful and all, but it's not enough. Roshan, they're probably going to give this Aegis, I'd expect, to the Death Prophet. But then again, I think Gyrocopter is probably your best candidate, but let's see. It is going to be Kiilstofte, who finds himself another Aegis after the ones that he got last game. But there you go, first Roshan of the game, going to go the Wave Invasion. When the Radiant team gets the first Roshan, I'd be interested to see the win rate of teams that are actually able to do that. But either way, Bloodstone on the Death Prophet, just look at how aggressively he's playing. He is so deep in enemy lines and just yules up the Doom, and he's going to purge off the Scorched Earth, or actually that doesn't purge, never mind. Arrow going to be a little too long, but tier 2 tower in mid, it's just going to be plinked down by them. Exorcism or not, it's going to be enough as no marching machines on the ground. Tinker has his Blink Dagger now and can drop a couple of marches behind his tier 2, but he can't walk up. If he walks up, the Blink Dagger initiation for the Batrider is too much. She's almost too close as it is. Tier 1 tower up top is going to take a lot of damage from these Eidolons. But then again, it might not even fall. Let's see, it should die. Yeah, they don't commit anybody else except for the Mirana for this, and it's at least something. Malphus goes away of ATTR. He's not going to be able to leap away as he doesn't have that on cooldown. He's going to lose his life, but then again, looks like they're going to lose their Enigma as well. Walking towards the south, it looks like he wants to try to make an escape, but even if he tries to deviate out, there's a flame break, there's Yules, there's too much. He is going to heal himself up. I'm not sure how he did that. He's going to convert a creep before falling down, but that's just going to feed some more Eidolon gold the way of Invasion. They'll knock that down with the Crypt Storm. It is going to be a Gem of True Sight for Invasion as Ghost finds himself that one in the map control that Immunity have. If you can even call it that, they have a grand total of 1 ward on their high ground cliff. It's nothing. They get themselves a little bit of damage on this tier 1 tower and bottom that is being doodled on by the Enigma. Yeah, just like that. It's not enough. Call down in mid, going clear at those creeps, and Tinker is going to be able to TP in. I'm not sure if he really wants to be here. He'll drop a march and then back off. There's a glimpse on the Gyrocopter. He has BKB, though. Now they're going to find Chains. They pull him back into the rest of the team with the BKB on FCFC. They're just going to blow him to shreds. FCFC probably needs to back off as he doesn't have the Aegis, and Ghost is falling pretty low. But Tinker down. This is almost enough for Invasion to push high ground, and although it's weird to say that, they have Exorcism on Death Prophet as well as a Gyrocopter that is still doing a decent amount of damage. She can pick up his Demon Edge now, and once he has the Demon Edge, like, what are Immunity gonna do? He can BKB, and then it's it. They need to doom him. Even if he's BKB, doing him still worth it to shut down the Flak Cannon, but then again, you're dealing with an Exorcism on the Death Prophet if you do that, and that's just not a happy place to be. Kiilstofte, another 2,800 gold on top of this. You can just go for hard. I don't think it actually matters what he buys. He'll find himself some Eidolon gold, and zap, that's going to be a cool 100 gold, or thereabouts for Kiilstofte to snag just by 1 Crypt Swarm, and with the Bloodstone, it doesn't actually matter. So he'll have the mana to do this for days. Yeah. It's all a matter about keeping this Tinker alive. One of the benefits of not having the highest level on your Tinker is that it'll be able to respawn faster, and, well, when that's the best thing you can think about for your team, you're just not in a happy place. You'll be able to drop some marches and hold the high ground for a longer time than usually you'll see with teams that have this big of an advantage at 12,000 at 20 minutes in, and about 10,000 in the goal or experience as well. But it's only going to delay it, I feel. They could build a pipe on this Death Prophet if they really want to finish this out quickly, but Death Prophet can go for whatever she wants. Yeah, Batrider just casually walking in any base. Why not? Ghost is going to eat a lot of tower shots, but I don't know. Kiilstofte has had enough. He's going to drop the Exorcism and do the damage to the tower. Probably walk back up after this march is over. Yeah, just right-click that tower down as the 3 seconds are going to wear off from the glyph, and there you go. The tier 3 tower is going to be under some heavy siege. Down to half health with very little committal coming out for Invasion. With the Aegis on the Death Prophet for quite some time now, They can still do this. I think Kasukuma could probably walk up high ground again. If they really want to, they could just whole hog commit to that tier 3, but they're not going to do so. March is a good spell, and that's really all that Immunity have going for them right now. Eagle Song on Gyrocopter, he's going to forego just going for a straight MKB. I'm not sure if I like this, but, you know, it's fine. I would have liked to see just the MKB from the Gyrocopter and hit as hard as you can. I'd love to watch this Enigma and Disruptor Silencer just absolutely melt. As mean as that sounds, it would be how it goes in the team fights, and there's very little that they can do to stop it. If they find themselves a lasso onto the Doom Silencer Tinker, that team fight is more or less lost. Nothing they can do. Enigma has some decent farm for an Enigma, decent farm for a support, I suppose, but not necessarily for an Enigma. Blink Mechanism, he still has farm to where he can function. The bigger issue is the other heroes. You have an Aghanim Scepter on your Silencer, but meh, it's not going to do anything. It's 22 minutes, and Aghanim Scepter, I suppose, is nice. As they find initiation, they're going to jump in, but there's a nice global as they look for a black hole potentially. The Stack Storm's already on the ground. They're focusing on OK. OK is going to lose his life to start things off, and it's a good pickoff, but with Global Silence down, I'm not sure that Invasion actually care. They have an Aegis on their Death Prophet, and now they're just going to jump in. They get a lasso onto Risk, but they doom up the Batrider after he gets the lasso off. Now without a Doom, that's their team fight gone. Immunity, they don't have anything, and now they're fighting 4v4 without their big ultimates. You do have 40 seconds till the Gyrocopter gets up his call down, and I'm not sure we have an urn on their team. Actually, they do. So with ADTR with the urn, they can keep everybody pretty healthy. FCFC going to heal up on some jungle creeps with this Helm of the Dominator. I'm not sure where his Dominator creep is. Actually, it is over at his Ancients. It hasn't made a large stack, but this doesn't actually matter. This is icing on the Gyrocopter cake. I think that's how we're going to call it. As FCFC is already pretty darn farmed, that extra Ancient stack is just going to help him that much more. Invasion aren't going to push the issue while the Disruptor, or Silencer ultimate, excuse me, is down. So they are going to exercise some caution, which is probably the smarter choice. But slow and steadily, Invasion are just going to take this pretty methodically. Their Aegis is going to time out as well. They kind of missed a little bit of their timing. But then again, they can wait for the next Aegis. There is no rush. There really isn't. The Death Prophet has plenty of places to accelerator farm and plenty of places to grow. Shiva's Guard, next time probably Heart, BKB, something along those lines. They static charge up the Death Prophet, but now that's just going to give them the fact that Cynical's there, and Cynical, caught between the Death Prophet and company, he's going to fall. They don't even need the Exorcism for that kill. There's buyback on the Doom, but you just can't do that. Morana ultimate popped, and now the Enigma down in bottom. I'm not sure he showed his face, but he better get out of there. And there you go, just blink away. You can't do anything about it. You need to get out of there. And that's exactly what he's going to do. FCFC getting dangerously close to a butterfly, and despite it not being the MKB that I was hoping for earlier, it's still going to be an insane amount of damage for your Gyro. Gyro is going to start hitting his stride, and after that, it's just straight up for the Gyrocopter. If he gets his Satanic, he's not going to have a care in the world, with the exception being Doom. But even then, if they Doom, how are they going to focus him down? They don't have the damage to do so. We do have a Batrider who is potentially lurking for initiation 20 seconds before he has lasso, but the map control from Immunity just isn't there. They're completely bottled up in their base, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're just praying for the Tinker Miracle. Exorcism popped, arrow thrown into the base. It's not going to land on anybody. I don't think it is going to fly by the ear of Risk as the tier 3 tower is going to fall. Nothing they can do about it. As Steel Scepter comes up from Death Prophet, she dropped pretty darn low. Now she's going to get doomed. She does have Exorcism up, and they dropped the Global Silence as well. But the BKB on FCFC, he's doing a pretty darn good amount of damage to Satan. Burning in the fire and the flames, he's going to fall, but FCFC might be the cost of it. He's going to get his BKB off and now just run away. Defensive BKB nonetheless, as they do get the kill on the Death Prophet, I believe just from the Doom. They glimpse back the Gyrocopter. His BKB has worn off and out the level death. Not amplified, as well as an urn going his way. FCFC is going to be just fine. Disruption going to even stop the last word damage, so well played by OK. Going to keep that urn charge alive, and that's your completed Gyrocopter butterfly there. He's going to fly to himself on the courier, and Death Prophet, with the amount of bloodstone charges that he had, or she had, it wasn't the largest I've ever seen, but it's still going to keep her up and running pretty quickly, and now she's going to be just fine. They can rinse and repeat, do that again. You might decide to wait for an Aegis this time, but I'm not even sure they have to. The Roshan timer, unfortunately for them, is going to be not super fast, but then again, it's not too long. It's only about a minute 40. So then, minute 40, it's go time again for Gyrocopter and companies. They're just going to run up high ground, pop the Exorcism, and towers are going to melt as Doom bumps into the Death Prophet, but Ron Ultimate going to keep DP just fine. Tinker finally gets him a little bit of room, but Tinker, he's going for a Bloodstone, and oh, risk almost just soloed by the Death Prophet. That Cryptstorm landing almost would have killed him, if not killed him. I think that would have been his demise here. 300 damage, yeah, that would have killed him. That would have killed him, unfortunately. Right now it wouldn't have, but yeah, that's resistance for you. You are going to have a Tinker that is going to stay out of his base with this Bloodstone pickup, but then again, if he dies at all, not to say that that would be bad or good in any situation, but if he dies at all, it's going to be a dead item in his inventory, and will he be able to finish up this Bloodstone? I don't even know. I think they just needed the damage. Dagon, despite being a really risky pickup for him, I think is probably the best bet. Like, just go big or go home. You need the deeps. Yep, and into their base they go. Chains is added again, and it's going to be like this for as long as this game goes, unless something crazy happens. They need the Dream Black Hole, and with a blink, it definitely could happen. They need 2 marches on the ground as well as Black Hole and Midnight Pulse. If they have that all lined up and the stars are on their side, they might be able to make something happen. As up to the high ground they go. FCFC is going to be tanking through a stack of March Machines as well as Midnight Pulse, and will be forced back. That universal damage is going to be doing quite a number on them. But Kiilstofte, he's also going to be just fine. It's just a rinse and repeat. Kinetic field going to drop by the Disruptor, making sure there's no cheeky Bat Riders over there. And no cheeky Bat Riders there, as Ghost is on the back line. 3,300 gold for the Bat Rider. They might consider waiting for his BKB before they fully commit towards the next lane of barracks. But then again, Invasion, they kind of have whatever they want. This map is theirs, and I don't see that changing for a long time. I don't really want to do it, but just slowly but steadily, they've been able to get a net worth advantage. And now into the Roshan pit they go. Nothing they can do. No exorcism needed for this. I wouldn't even bother popping it. Medallion, as well as Lifesteal and Gyrocopter, all you're going to need for this. Achievas cards, though, also going to be helping out a mite. Let's see, immunity. They might consider smoking up, but even then, it's not going to happen. They're probably best at fighting around the Roshan pit with the Black Hole into Disruptor ulti. But yeah, that's an Aegis going the way of your Gyrocopter this time. He's hitting pretty darn hard, and honestly, I'd like to see him part ways with his magic stick, or magic wand rather, and pick himself up a Demon Edge, because let's be honest, if they drop him once, they're going to have to commit everything, for FCFC. But no, into his stack he goes. FCFC just be like, okay, bye team, wait for me, I'm gonna go get some extra gold, and hopefully he picks up the Demon Edge or something. There you go, it is going to be a Satanic Recipe. Man, this guy is boring. FCFC needs to just go for damage. It's fine. He's not gonna die. Whatever. I was hoping. I want to see a huge Gyrocopter. It's a hero that we don't get to see very often anymore, and it's always fun to watch a 6-slotted Gyrocopter 1v5 an enemy team. You know, it's always something to hope for. They are going to leave a little bit of room for immunity by backing off for that Ancient stack, and I don't think they needed to do so, but they can. Like, there's nothing forcing them to do anything. Gyrocopter now with the Satanic on top of his BKB Butterfly doesn't have a care in the world. The extra health coming out from the Satanic is going to be enough to keep him on the front lines, even if he's doomed. If they throw everything at him, even then they might not have enough to kill him twice. Alas, 'tis going to be a slow and steady game from Invasion. It's quite a change of pace from what I'm used to. So I'm usually casting the American, European, and South American Dota. And when you have Russian Dota, it's fast and furious. And when you have those South Americans, they go at each other, and they go at each other some more. Right now, we're not even hitting 1 kill a minute, and that's weird. That's honestly weird. ADT are going to be spotted out by a ward. We'll give them vision of that arrow, but no, Cynical runs into it. There's no way to jump into that unfortunately for Invasion. I have no idea what Doom was doing if he gets hit by the arrow. He has a Blink Dagger, and that shouldn't happen. But yeah, Ward going to be dewarded by the Bat Rider's gem, and probably because of the Delta split coming out from immunity pretty early on, with the exception being of that Doom. They are going to know that that's warded. Enigma, he picks himself up a gem. I don't like this pickup, honestly, from the Enigma. He's just going to lose it, and even if he doesn't, when are they ever going to be able to get out of their base? The ward vision coming out from Invasion isn't even that impressive. I'm not sure if it's even worth the gem pickup when you're just going to be spending 900 gold that sits in your base. I think picking up an Ogre Club and saving for buyback is probably your best bet. But yeah, immunity, they're just chilling. Just chilling. Batrider has enough for his completed BKB if he wants to snag that one up, and we're just kind of waiting for the next big fight to break out. Yeah, it's really just not working out for them. We're just kind of waiting for this gyrocopter to pick up his next big item, I think. Even then, 3 minutes on the Aegis, they might finally try to make something happen, as Kesekimba is going to snag up the farm in mid lane. But this is kind of the risk when you go for something so darn greedy. Like immunity, it's just not working out. It's just not working out. Heart now completed, on to Death Prophet. I think this is go time. Like, there's no reason not to. You have a 2,000 HP gyrocopter, you have a almost 3,000 HP Death Prophet, and yeah, you can just do this. Walk up to the high ground, pop the Exorcism, and just right-click. There's 2 stacks of March on the ground. It doesn't matter. FZ has a BKB, he's not even going to pop it. Why would he need to? He's sitting on the backlines for now, but Kesekimba is anything but. He's just running at the barracks. There's nothing they can do about this. It's up to them to initiate, and if they show their face, they might just get Batrider lassoed. They are going to BKB and doom FZ, but he's going to come back with the BKB available, and they need to get out of dodge here. Let's see. I believe he is going to go ahead and find himself a kill on the run as well, but now with the Exorcism still running on Kesekimba, they can't do anything, and now a purge up I believe he's going to get brought down by the Rocket Barrage, and now they drop a Midnight Pulse on the ground. FZ probably needs to pop the BKB, and he's going to turn. He does have the Satanic Pop, but he's not able to do enough damage. Melee barracks down, buyback forced up on Silencer, just back off invasion, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Very bridled play coming out from them, and they're going to make it work out. It's going to be fine. Batrider potentially looking for initiation. It's going to end up hurting him here as he's going to be glimpsed back into the Doom. The Flame Break is going to keep him at arm's length, and now just waiting for that Blink Dagger cooldown. He also has 6 charges, and I think the Batrider is home free. There you go. Blink down over to the side shop, and there you go. That's where he's going to stay. No way to chase them up, and okay. Going to TP out. Everybody's going to be just fine. As Batrider also finds himself a TP scroll and has a double gem from the Enigma dropping his earlier. Mushroom Machine's down on the ground, but they can't chase. Bloodstone finally finished up by the Tinker, but this Tinker, he's not going to find anything. They get a glimpse back onto somebody. Will they be able to find anybody? They are going to find Risk, however. That glimpse might just cost him his life, and it will, as he just gets bopped a new one by FZ, as he now has another amount of gold. It's now a die for the leaf. He is going to be lassoed back in. Ghost's going to take a lot of damage for it, but that's 2 kills. No buyback on the Silencers. He spent it last fight. This might just be a second lane. Courier. Oh. Courier's gonna die to the Death Prophet, and that was holding, presumably. I'm not even gonna presume. Let's see, what was it actually holding? That was holding the completed Shiva's. That's heartbreaking. That's 3,300 gold that they're not going to have for the next team fight. Now, mid-tier 3 tower going to be brought down by Kesekimba as the rest of his team is coming in. They're going to Malphas him up, but what does he care? Eul Scepter up in the air. They can disrupt him up if they want to just keep him in the front lines for as long as possible. And, well, they are going to take a decent amount of damage. This call down comes through. It's just going to zone them out. It doesn't actually do that much. But now the second lane of barracks is probably going to fall BKB on FCFC. He's taking a lot of damage from the Marcher Machines, and they are going to be forced back. I would have liked to see them commit a little bit more than that. I don't think there's much of a chance that Immunity can fight back into it. But they might have lost their Death Prophet, and it's not a risk that they have to take. Death Prophet is gonna be just fine. 3,000 HP now. He has broken that threshold, and 3,500 gold on top of it. If Death Prophet gets a BKB, she can just kind of sit up there pretty casually. Maybe just pick up a pipe if you want to end the game now. I'm not sure if anybody's working towards that on their team. It would be wonderful, and actually Shadow Demon getting pretty darn close to it. He does have the 2 major components, and Lincoln's Fear now on the Batrider. What do they have to fear? Gem on the Batrider, 1 gem in the base. Even if they lose this one, it's still going to be enough to keep them fighting. And, well, not a huge fan of this Batrider pickup. I think the BKB would have served him just as well, but he's going to stop the Glimpse, most importantly. Malefice, Doom, if he can snag it. It'll be wonderful. If we see some clutch Lincoln Sphere plays, that's what I'm going to watch for from Ghost. If he can snag that on somebody, like, during the animation of the Doom's Doom, and Doom doesn't cancel his spell, it could be huge. Whenever Doom, like, raises his arms for the mighty Doom, it's going to be a Gyrocopter. Drops a call down up top, but nothing really lost. That's a 45-second cooldown. There you go, and Doom, well, FCFC, you're not my favorite person. He's going to be doomed, he's going to get Malefist, and as much hate as he's receiving, I don't think he's going to die, but then again, he might. Now that they have the Glimpse return, it is going to be maxed out from Risk, and they'll be able to bring him down now, with also Kinetic Field dropping. Yeah, there you go. That's the pickup. That's what they needed. The Tinker's also here. They'll put some pressure on this lane, but yeah, Gyrocopter, not a fan of your items, buddy. If you really want to tank up at this point, which I really don't think you have to, I think you just go for Scotty, to be honest. Like, I would have loved to see a Scotty on the Gyrocopter a lot more than this Heart pickup. Either way, he is not going to die unless he's caught between 5 heroes, which is what just happened. If you include the Tinker coming at the very end, but 4 at the very least. Yeah. Gyrocopter not immune to dying. Pretty much what we can learn from that last engagement. It's going to give them a little bit of more hope, but it's still 25,000 in the favor of Invasion, 25,000 experience. They stemmed the bleeding with that pickoff, and it's going to slightly bounce it in their favor. It's not enough. Silence, they're going for a refresher. He's probably going to pick himself up a Perseverance here. And they do have the Courier for the Shiva's Guard on the Doom, so there's a little bit of gold left for immunity that they didn't have last fight. It's just not enough, especially not if they lose jDL3. They're going to pull him back into the lasso. Beautifully comboed as Force Staff just snags him in. The Flame Break in. They're going to look for a Doom, and they will. They're going to pop the Lincoln Sphere on the Batrider, and now Global Silence. They're not able to get jDL3 as it was only those two, and now the Silence are going to snag himself a kill on the Batrider. They lose the gem, and now they're going to return one of the gems, which is the one that is owned by OK, the Shadow Demon that gave it to the Batrider earlier on. Yeah, that's unfortunate that they weren't able to have any more backup. Yeah, Invasion, they're not losing grip on this game by any means, but that's 2 important pickoffs for immunity. If they want to get back into it, that's what they need. In a full 6-slotted versus 6-slotted battle, I'll say that Invasion are going to win that anyway. But if they're able to start fights off the way that they have previously, it's not over. And I'm not sure how this game is going to impact the tournament standings as a whole, but it's definitely not something that they want to be losing. Yep, I don't know. Up top, they're going to find jDL3, and this time Kesekimba might be able to find this kill. I don't know. He's running into too many heroes, and even with the heart, he's going to be forced back. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating to watch this game because I think Invasion could have gone high ground a lot earlier. But then again, they're under no pressure to do so. I would have liked to see more aggressive play from them. It's breaking my heart, guys. Come on. Come on, we are going to see Batrider, as I say that, get picked off on the bottom lane. Doom, what the heck was he doing down there? I was not expecting that. The Tinker, he's cutting creeps, which is acceptable as long as he can get out alive, but I'm not sure what the Doom is doing. Is Risk. Ooh, ring around the roses. Ships passing in the night is Risk, and Kesekimba are just going to pass with none the wiser. We are going to see the Doom, or rather Death Prophet, as well as the Gyrocopter meet up down in bottom lane, and now with a completed heart on your Gyro. Yeah, this is going to be the tankiest Gyrocopter you're ever going to see. And honestly, I would not be surprised if he gets a Scotty next, because his item build is just so tank-oriented. Arrow going to land on Chains, and now they blink in. They're going to force him back. There's no Doom available. They drop the Lincoln Sphere with the Glimpse, but it's not going to be enough as Chains is brought down to start this fight. He does have the Bloodstone back in 10 seconds. Probably will save him a buyback, but it's not going to save the Racks. The Racks looks like they're just going to fall. The Exorcism not available for Death Prophet. 36 seconds on cooldown. FCFC taking a decent amount of damage on the front lines, and now the pipe popped. I think they can still go for this. Just kill the darn building. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, there we go. They're hitting it. They're hitting it. Yep, we're going to get it. The Global Silence comes out as Chitan is in the middle of everything, but he's just being focused down. Enigma looking for a black hole, not going to be able to find it. They Malefice up Death Prophet, but Force Staffs are going to keep her pretty safe, and if they go for any more, they can't. They're going to be backed off. High ground defended, I suppose? I don't know. That felt like a really weird defense. Come on, Invasion. I think he can do it. There's nothing stopping you. Go for the Roshan, why don't you? Give an Aegis to the Gyrocopter and see if they can kill him twice. I don't know, at this point it's just a goal of tanking this game. Yeah. I think the only logical choice for Gyrocopter as this next item is Divine Rapier. Like, honestly. If you go for this defensive a build, you need the oomph. You need the oomph. I don't think you're going to die. There's a cheese on the ground casually that's going to be picked up by the Mirana. Probably will pass that back to somebody else. Might see some clutch plays in that sense. But then again, we might not. Death Prophet is, for all intents and purposes, 6-slotted. Might replace the Yule Scepter with something else. Refresher, maybe? At this point in the game, I wouldn't be opposed as they scythe up somebody. Now pull him back. Shatan is going to be brought before this fight dies. And now Cynical, he's inside all of the Exorcism Spirits and will be brought down. That's a buyback from Enigma. Wants to get back in this fight. The double ultimate coming out from the Silencer, I think, has already been popped, but it's too late. The melee barracks finally falls. Now they Yule Scepter up the Enigma and now try to focus in on the Spirits. Aren't focused him, and there they are. They're going to rip him to shreds. Look at Shatan fall. Now the Spirits are also focused down Risk and into the backlines. We are going to see FCFC as they do lock into place. ADTR, who might fall. He does have the cheese available. Might have already popped that, actually. He's going to earn himself up in the backlines as FCFC. He's going to get that mischance, and now brought back in the enemy team with a glimpse. But now he's just focused down jDL3, and now he's going to be healing back up. Satanic already used, but it doesn't matter. It's now Cynical. Will be brought down on top of it. Even though he's not doing the most damage, 250 a pop is still enough for FCFC to do a whole lot of work. And now Invasion, have done it. Finally, last lane of barracks should evolve very quickly, and please don't back off for the love of all that's holy. You should be able to seal out this game after this long. Honestly, I don't think this game needs to go 40 minutes long, but I think at 40 minutes in, finally, they're going to be able to do something. Tier 3 tower up top is going to be dropped down FCFC, just tanking like a boss. He has Aegis, it doesn't even matter if he falls. And now the melee barracks also going to fall suit. 40 seconds till exit him, it doesn't matter. Pop the pipe and blink away. The backdoor protection isn't there. There's creeps inside the base, and now looking for the Tinker. He's going to be able to blink away in time. This is going to be mega creeps, and for all intents and purposes, GG. But if there ever was a hero that could defend against mega creeps, it is Tinker or six-slotted Naga. Either way, don't think this Tinker has enough in order to do it, but maybe they'll try. Let's see. Kesegemba, they're going to zone him back, and that is your completed mega creeps. Right now, Invasion, you don't need to fountain dive. Just end the darn game. Shaitan is going to eat a call down as well as an arrow. Now he's going to be brought down into the base to go with the Tinker. He's going to Yule Scepter up. BKB on the Gyrocopter is inside the enemy base. They're going to force staff back out Chains, and Chains is going to fall, and the fountain farming commences. Look at FCFC, tank that fountain like a boss. There's nothing he can do. Pop that Satanic in 3 seconds. He's going to be fine. Defensive Disruption will keep him alive. Now Kesegemba finds himself a kill inside the well, and now Dive Belief. He's going to be arrowed. If anything else, just call GG. Come on, Immunity. He can do it. Cynical. He's not going to be saved by the Bells of Doom. They finally kill one life of the Gyrocopter. That's not going to be enough. They're just going to force staff him out and tank the well for all that they're worth. GG finally called out by Risk. Man, that was a painful game to watch towards the end. My goodness. Net worth soaring so much in favor of Invasion as they spawn camp Chains. Well, I can't say it wasn't well played by Invasion, but it was a little too safe for my comfort. I don't know. It was completely fine. They come away a win, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter, is they bring out the series 2-0. Immunity, they just couldn't get their stuff together. We are going to have another series coming after this with Invasion versus Mythtrust, and let's see if Myth are going to have a better chance of going up against Invasion, who just came off of a pretty clean 2-0. As far as your caster, I'm GrandonSV here on HeflaTV. If you want to follow the HeflaTV crew, you can do so on Twitter and Facebook at HeflaTV, both there. And if you want to watch the games again, if you really want to watch this game again, you can go ahead and check out youtube.com/HeflaMilk. The first game was a lot faster, but there is some good ones, and you can just check back every once in a while. Yeah, so thanks for watching. We are going to have another series coming up at 1700 CET, if I'm not mistaken, which is probably in about a half an hour or so, see you soon. Back to the lobby screen, some music, some ads, and, well, that's going to be it. GG to both teams.